name me mercenaries, really that's a double M. Born baller, baby boy, I be above the rim.
What's good, family? It's your boy Just Blaze, host of the best NBA pod in the game, Above the Rim. Keep it locked each week and join myself and a special guest as we tackle the latest rumblings in the league. If it's happening in the NBA, you know I got you covered. Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and leave that 5-star review. Let's get it.
Are you a Knicks fan still?
I'm still a Knicks fan. I bleed orange and blue. That never changes. When you grow up a Knicks fan, you grow up watching the Knicks. You can't just change. I mean, you try to change from
it don't feel right.
A Knick hat to another hat, and you're a real New Yorker, and somebody see you, it's a wrap. It's over with for you.
So
forever.
There's other hidden talent of being a Knicks fan is that other people get sick seeing you happy, and you are able to get joy from that.
Yo, just want to thank all my supporters. Want to thank my haters and everything. Look, but check it out. Bigger and better things coming, baby. Don't worry about it. You fall twice, you get up 3 times. You know, just always remember to smile, baby. I'm good. I'm good.
Talk about it.
You are now tuned in to Above the Rim.
Family, welcome back to another edition of Above the Rim. Brought to you as always, it's your host, Justin aka Just Blaze. Family, you know the drill to get in contact with me. You can always hit me up, follow me on Twitter at JustBlaze_513. On IG is at JustBlaze513. On Facebook, search Above the Rim Podcast. Email the show as well, Above the Rim NBA Podcast at gmail.com. Tap in and leave the family a voicemail. The line is always open, 908-718-1592. Show some love, subscribe on all platforms, leave a review, stock up on your merch. Get your merch, family. Joining me this week, one of my favorite guys to talk hoops with. Very knowledgeable, brother. We've been on each other's shows back and forth now for a couple of years, a few times. One of my personal favorite NBA pods to listen to, Real Talk. So make sure you give it a download. Host of the Dime podcast, Josh Rodriguez. What's up, my brother? How you been?
Just, what's good, man? I appreciate you having me on, man. It's an honor. It's an honor. But seriously, I'm not going to front you. I tell people all the time, like, yo, give me a basketball podcast to listen to. I'm like, yo, Above the Rim. I'm telling you.
I appreciate that,
ass, bro. I'm not kidding. You ask anybody. And seriously.
And you know when I come to your show, I always got to bring the heat. And you was the Dime was the birth of La Prophecy last year. With the Heat making it to the finals. So I definitely got to come back again when we hit playoff time, because I think I got a few more up my sleeve. Man.
I mean, listen, you got a scary one going right now with the Suns. Like, at some point, man, I'm just going to give you a crystal ball, take some pictures, bro, and just have your own segment on the Dime and just promote it, because it's too crazy. It's too crazy right now.
I need one, man. I need one. Crystal ball. There it is. So let's get right into it, man. But yeah, so Above the Rim. What would it be if I didn't start this episode off talking about my man Paul Pierce right now? Talking about Paul Pierce right now. Doing it for the streets, living free as a retiree, having a nice little rendezvous with the fellas, a few ladies. But he got messed up when he broadcasted it to the world. No, sir. I don't know what my man was thinking. Putting it on IG Live. He could have kept it humble, but he definitely wanted to post it at IG Live and show off for the streets, which eventually got him rinsed, got him fired from his ESPN gig. The honorable Paul Pierce had himself a hell of a week. Josh, what were your thoughts when you saw that, man? I was dying, man. It was funny.
I was laughing my ass off. I was just like, yo, he's bored, yo. Like, he's bored. Doesn't realize there are going to be consequences for his actions, because let's be honest, you're Paul Pierce, which means you're a dope in college, you're a dope during the NBA, you're one of the best players of all time, so you never really experienced consequences. You thought you can get away with it. You didn't think it was a big deal. You started. How many people were on that live? It was like 100 people, right?
It was
like
that many people. I think it was like two something.
Yeah,
I know it was under 300 people.
Yeah, you risked it all just for like 250 IG live viewers. Come on, Paul. But yeah, I think he was just bored, man. I don't think he realized what he was doing.
He was bored. He was high. He lost his mind at the same time. I don't know what my man was thinking. He was wilding out for a little bit. For a few hours, he was wilding. But damn, damn, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing all that. I tell you that right now. There's nothing wrong with that. He was having fun, living free as a retiree, like I said. But the posted, the IG live family, put the phones down.
You got nothing to prove, Paul. You got nothing to prove. We know, bro. You in the NBA, we know you get women. Come on.
We know those checks are coming. We know those Disney checks are still coming.
Right.
I had to laugh, man. And what's crazy is it went viral like pretty instantly. Like the less than the 300 people that were watching it was, as soon as it went viral, obviously way more people were watching it. So when I saw it trending on Twitter, I was like, oh my Lord, this can't be true. This gotta be a joke. But the damn show wasn't. And I said, man, I don't think he's gonna last another week. There's no way DC's gonna let him last with this. Not with the screenshots.
The mouse won't let it happen, baby. Mickey Mouse was pissed.
I gotta say, man, he was wild now, but hey, it's the NBA. No shortage of drama, man. I tell you that. So let's get to the copping or dropping segment, man. Copping or dropping each week. We discuss NBA hot topics, and if you agree, you're copping. If you disagree, Josh, you're dropping. So let's start off. So now I want to be clear. I've been on record many times saying that I think this year is a very wide open year this year. I truly believe that any team can actually lose in the playoffs this season, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of the top seeds get knocked off. But for this one, I wanted to make it a little bit spicier. Copping or dropping this take, Josh.
All right.
One of these 4 teams will be eliminated in the first round.
Ooh,
the Bucks, the 76ers, the Jazz, and the Nuggets. Copping or dropping this take.
I'm going to drop this, man. First, for the East, the teams just at the bottom of the conference aren't strong enough. The East is very, very, very top heavy. And no matter how you feel about the Bucks or the Sixers, whether you think they're overrated or not, I can't see a team like the Knicks or the Bulls or Atlanta. Maybe if they get matched up with Miami. That's the one thing. But I think Miami's
I was getting ready to stop you, but carry on.
Yeah, but I think Miami's going to be in that 4 or 5 matchup. So they're going to avoid the Bucks or the Sixers in the first round. So to me, it's just a process elimination. I don't see it happening in the East. I like the Jazz, man. I'm on the Jazz bandwagon. I know you're not, but I think they're a phenomenal basketball team. I don't know if they're the best team in the West, but I do think they should be taken seriously. Like you said, this year it's wide open, man. And I think the Jazz are a contender. In my mind, they are at least. And then the same with the Nuggets, man. Same can be said. And I don't really see anybody at the bottom of the conference. I mean, Denver looks like they're going to be 4 or 5. Maybe if they get matched up with the Lakers kind of stay around that realm. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, who else would be there? Would be Portland or Dallas? I would take Denver over them. So this is just hedging my bet off the fact that they won't see the Lakers in their first round.
Okay. I like that. So you going the safe route. Listen, man, I'm copping this take. I'm copping this one.
Which team?
I think, listen, man, I think... I mean, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to say any of these teams are going to get blown out or they're going to get swept or nothing like that, because I don't think anything like that has happened. I think most of the series will be tight. I think there may be 1 or 2 series that may be a blowout, but I think for the most part, most of them will be tight. But I could think of a nightmare matchup for each one of these teams. Like if I'm looking at the Bucks, I think their nightmare matchup is Miami. Still, and it can very well happen. Right now, Miami's in 5th, I believe. Milwaukee's in 3rd. So they can easily, and I think 4 through 8, I believe, is separated by 2 or 3 games. So that can flip-flop in the next 20-something games, and the Heat could easily be matched up with the Bucks. I think for the Sixers, I think their nightmare matchup will be the Celtics, in my opinion. If the Celtics still stay at 8, well, they're 7th right now. They slide.
You holding on to the Celtics, man. You still believe?
I still believe, bro. I'm telling you, they haven't been healthy, man. I'm going to go on another episode talking about why I still believe in them, but they haven't been healthy, in my opinion. And they, to me, are a very perimeter-oriented, very perimeter top-heavy team. And I think that may be the 76ers' Achilles heel. Not really necessarily having a big man that can score in the paint, but a team that can score from the outside. I think and scoring one-on-one coverage is a team that I think can possibly take the 76ers out, even with their stellar defense. I think for the Jazz, I think their nightmare matchup could be the Warriors. If the Warriors were to get in there at the 8th seed, right now they're out, but they still hovering around there. I don't know how, Josh, the Grizzlies are in there right now. The Grizzlies are 8th right now.
It's the same thing that I said last year with the Grizzlies. Like, what the hell? How the hell is Memphis? I mean, listen, they play well together. They're young. They play hard. That's the thing. This is the same thing with the Knicks, and we'll probably get to this later. They just play hard every night. That accounts for something in the NBA because, let's be honest, not everybody's playing their hardest every night. These young teams like the Grizzlies, they bring it every single night. They want to win. So,
yeah, so I agree. And I'm like, damn, if they stay in 8th, then I think the Jazz can pretty much make easy work of them. I would say maybe a 5, maybe 6 game series if they have a bad game. But I think if they somehow got matched up with the Warriors, I feel like Steph could go 40 each night. They could have a few surprise wins, and I think maybe they can push them to 6 or 7. But I think ultimately the Jazz probably would win that series out because they just have more depth. But I think it will be a scare. And I think for the Nuggets, like you said, the Lakers, because that may be their likely scenario. The Nuggets stay at 4, the Lakers stay at 5. If it stays that way, I'm picking the Lakers easily. Not easily, but I'm picking the Lakers in that series. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I am too. And I like what Denver has done getting Aaron Gordon. I think they've, significantly moved up from like the Portlands and the Dallases of the world. I got to show love to your Suns, man. Talk about it. I finally got to show love. I wouldn't say they're better than the Suns just yet. Even though they did beat Phoenix early in the year twice in a row. Yeah. I don't know, man. The Suns are just playing a different brand of basketball since that time. So I'm not ready to put them over the Suns. But yeah, if you're playing the Lakers in the first round, I can't go against LeBron and AD in the first round. Absolutely not.
That's going to be tough. I think the worst case scenario is for the Nuggets to be in that 4-5 matchup.
I agree.
It's either going to be the Nuggets, either the Lakers or maybe the Clippers if the Lakers make a surge when LeBron comes back or AD. So that's going to be tough. And I would love for the theater for the Nuggets and Clippers to be a first round
series, 3-6. I would love that, Just. Oh, I would love that.
4-5, I'll take it. Or, no, actually,
whatever it is.
3-6 because I don't want the Lakers in the Suns bracket. So the Lakers got to get up out of that bracket.
There you go.
4-5, I would love that. But that'll be a hell of a series right there.
I agree.
Man, it'll be crazy. So you don't think the Celtics could take the 76ers in any way or the Heat taking the Bucks in any way?
I think the Heat can, absolutely. I just think the Heat are too good to fall below the 5 spot because the Bucks look like they're pretty much locked in 3 or higher. So I don't think the Heat are going to fall. I think the Heat are too good to fall.
But if they're separated by a half game, remember, it's all about tiebreakers too at the end of the season. And the Hawks beat them.
Yeah, but then they also have to finish below Charlotte.
True. Yeah, Charlotte is a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's 2 teams that kind of have to leapfrog them because if they get the 5 seed, well, they're still playing the Hawks. So, to me, I just don't see the Heat falling that much. I mean, I think they're too good to fall that much. But yeah, if it's a Heat Bucks series, I'm with you, man. Seeing what I saw last year,
sticky. I called that one too, man.
You called everything with the Heat last year, man. And it's crazy because people are forgetting about the Heat this year. They added Victor Oladipo. They're a sleeper team in the East to me.
Listen, they're dangerous. Big sleeper. Listen, they are dangerous. If Oladipo's healthy, because he's looking a little shaky right now. I know he's still under evaluation for his knee, but if he's ready to go, that Heat team, they picked up Dwayne Dedmon the other day. They got man. They got some pieces over there.
They got some pieces. They can play D. That team plays defense. Listen. Butler and Oladipo. Come on, bro.
Come on now. They got some pieces. Bam. They're 10 deep.
Come on. They are. Yes, they are. Yeah. And Spoelstra, man. Come on.
Coach Spo, one of my favorite coaches in the league, man. Let's move on over to the next cop and the drop. So for the next one, I want to stay on the playoff theme a little bit. Get your thoughts on this. So we know there's always upsets also as well in different rounds each year. But that could be the different factors. Some of it due to coaching, some of it due to injuries. But digging a little bit deeper than that for this cop and the drop in this take, Josh. Cop and the drop. Chemistry is more important than talent in the playoffs. Cop and the drop in this take.
Man. That's okay. So the way I always speak about this, and I'm going to answer your question. I got to talk myself through it before I answer this question because I don't even know. I think talent is the most important thing in the NBA, right? If you don't have talent, doesn't matter how good your chemistry is. You're just not going to win games. The Orlando Magic and Oklahoma City Thunder right now are basically playing with G League teams. And I don't care how much chemistry those players have. They're not talented enough to beat the Lakers, in a 7-game series. Yeah. So to me, talent is the most important thing. But when talent is even or about equal, then that's when chemistry overrides everything. You saw it with the Mavs over the Heat the first year the Heat were together. You saw with the 04 Pistons. You see it from time to time. Even last year with the Nuggets, I mean, the Clippers were probably the more talented team, but the Nuggets came through. So it really just depends, man. But I would rather have the talent Although I think chemistry is just as important. It's like a 1A, 1B situation. I hate saying that because I love watching ball movement. I love seeing teams that pass the ball. I love all that. I love chemistry, but I just can't deny that. Like sometimes if you have LeBron James on your team, it's a one-way ticket to the finals. It just is. Yeah,
I agree with you there. But for argument's sake, I'm going to take the other approach.
Okay.
I'm going to go chemistry on this one. I'm going to go chemistry, and I'm going to give you a few examples why. Last year, we saw in the bubble, the Nuggets beat the Clippers in that series. I personally think the Clippers were the more talented team from top to bottom. They had the better individual players. But to me, the Nuggets had a better game plan. They had more heart. They had more team chemistry. And they were ready to go last year. So to me, that they were more a factor of team chemistry winning, to having their set game plan and executing on that game plan is what won them that series, in my opinion. Another example, the Heat beating the Bucks last year. We just talked about that too. I think
the Heat's finals run in general, to be honest with you, the whole run.
Yeah. Was all about chemistry to me. They were playing exceptional ball. We saw it was very Golden State Warrior-esque, especially on the perimeter last year. So I think that's what caught a lot of teams off guard last year with the Heat. So I think chemistry with that. And also, another example, when the Rockets for CP3, since they almost took out the Warriors with KD, now the KD-led Warriors were obviously and clearly way more talented than them.
Right.
But that team chemistry, the team chemistry between Harden and CP taking turns running the offense. You had PJ Tucker, you had Trevor Ariza, you had Clint Capella, you had everybody, Gerald Green, Eric Gordon, everyone playing their role. And the chemistry is what brought that team over the top and what brought that team to their best record in Houston franchise history that year. So I will go chemistry in a series maybe more important than talent. If, like you said, the talent is semi on par.
Yeah, it has to be on par because for every example you just named, I could think, well, what about the time the Lakers beat this team? You know what I mean? Because LeBron is just so like there's always just series where the other team is just way too much talent, way more talented than the other team. But yeah, if it's even, man, I think the team with more chemistry typically does pull it out, just like we saw with the Heat last year and the Nuggets as well.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, in those the Golden State Warriors runs, they were not only the most talented team, but they also had the most chemistry and cohesion as well.
That's what made them so great.
Exactly. That's what made them so tough to beat. So to me, it's a pick your poison. Rather you have chemistry more than talent. But I think if there's a like for instance, when we start getting to the second round, that's when I think chemistry really comes into play. Because at that point, to me, at the second round, there's 8 teams left total?
Yes.
Yeah, 8 teams.
Yep.
I feel like those 8 teams, 4 in each conference, should be very evenly matched. Like it's maybe a A+ and an A, or an A and an A- level team, in my opinion. So that's when I feel like chemistry becomes more important than talent.
We'll see, man, because we have a team right now, the Brooklyn Nets, who are just stacked. Front, they're very front heavy. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, they got LaMarcus Aldridge. No, I'm just talking about the 3 up top. So we'll see, man. They have probably the most talented trio, probably of all time. I don't think that's exaggeration. You can say Bosh, LeBron, and Wade, but Kyrie, Harden, and Durant on the same
individually,
team
it's crazy.
It's ridiculous. It's absurd. And it's not to say they don't have chemistry or won't have chemistry, but the Nets are going to take them as far as the talent takes them.
Yeah, I agree. And also due to the, you probably might get tight at this, but due to their I would say mediocre coaching on that sideline.
Come on, just why, man? I think D'Antoni. I'm not saying Nash because it's D'Antoni. I think D'Antoni is doing a pretty good job with that offense. I think he is.
A pretty good job. All right, but how much work does he really have to do, Josh?
You're right. You and I could be on the sideline.
Come on now. Honestly, look at their game plan right now. It's really very Houston Rockets-esque with giving James Harden the ball. Everybody else playing around him. Kyrie doesn't need anyone to help him score, and KD doesn't need anybody to help him score. Blake Griffin is a damn role player. DeAndre Jordan is an afterthought, which is ridiculous. By the way, I wrote this on Twitter. Isn't it ridiculous now that DeAndre Jordan is getting DNPs?
It is ridiculous for the amount of money that he's getting.
$30 million, I think $10 million a year for
Disgusting.
DNPs?
Does not make any sense. I mean, listen, shout out to Nick Claxton,
for playing his way into the rotation. And that's why it was more of a sucker move for LaMarcus Aldridge and for Blake Griffin to go over there. I didn't like that. I didn't like it.
I don't like it either, man. I didn't like it either. But no one should be freaking out that Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge went over to Brooklyn. They're not what they used to be. Although, listen, they can help. They are veterans. They have been at the peak of their profession, so they know what it takes to win. But
But they can still get you 15 a night, man. They can still get you 15 to 20. And that to me is more than a role player. To me, I think it was whack that they went there because I felt like they could have helped other teams, in my opinion, with a more expanded role.
I agree, man.
Yeah.
Go to Philly, you know?
Come on, man. That would have been nice over there.
Go to New York. Why not? Come on.
You know what's crazy? Aldridge would have helped the Knicks, actually. He would have helped them. He would have helped them a little bit because they need some scoring.
We need size too. I'm not gonna lie. Nerlens Noel's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I mean he's kind of small to be your starting center.
Yeah, he's really a backup center. And losing Mitchell Robinson was a big. Well. Listen. But while we on these, let's get to these boys right here. It's about time.
Yes, sir.
It's about time we talk about your boys. Talk about these Knicks. I know you're repping the Knicks out there in LA, but you in New York right now, so we right on the same type of time right now.
Yes, sir.
Having a much improved, impressive season this season. Most likely in the playoffs. We are hoping. They're currently in the 8th spot, but they can easily be aside from anywhere between 4 to 8. The 4th best defense in the league currently. The 22nd best offense. I believe they're last in the NBA in pace per game. Great coaching, great culture set in place here by Tibbs. Shout out to him. Talk to me, Josh, about your Knicks this season. What are your initial thoughts in the season? How impressed are you with the development of the season and how it's going for your Knicks?
Man, Jess, I'll tell you, as long as they don't lose like 15 straight games to close out the season, this season has already been a success. Even if they get in, if they get swept, the season has already been a success.
Hold on, don't talk sweet, man. Come on, don't jinx it.
Yeah, I know. I'm being as like dramatic and hyperbolic as possible right now. Like, as long as they continue this pace that they're on, like the 500, whatever, playing hard every night, playing defense every night, this season is already a success because there's a culture. The Knicks finally have some sort of culture at the Garden. Finally. You know, every night this team is going to bring it defensively. Every single night. Now, we might be a little inept offensively. We're not completely inept. We do have some talent offensively, but this team is really winning, you know, on the defensive side of the ball. It's keeping them in every single game, no matter who they're going up against. And that's a mindset, man. That's not something that you can teach. That's culture. And I think Tibbs brought that over, and I'm really grateful for that. You know, what happened in Minnesota with him was an absolute sham. We saw Jimmy leave, and you look what Jimmy's doing. That place is toxic. I don't know what the hell is going on in Minnesota, but stay the hell away from there. If you were an NBA player, oh my goodness, stay the F away from Minnesota. But listen, Tibbs has come through. He's built the culture, and everybody has brought in. You know, you hear stories all the time like this team is staying extra hours after practice to get shots up. You know, they're buying in defensively. And listen, like RJ, for instance, and he's developed into a player that we all dreamed or hoped that he would be. Everybody this year has made strides. And, you know, typically when you have a rookie like Obi Toppin come in and he's been extremely disappointing, like that's something that I wanted to see. If I was to list something like the 5 things that I wanted to see at the start of the season, I would want to see Obi have a great year. And it just hasn't happened. But the fact that it hasn't happened is not even like weighing on my mind because there's so many other good things that I'm like, all right, Obi, you can take your time developing if need be.
Yeah. And I am a little bit disappointed in Obi too, but I think it's partly due to there's no role for him. Also partly due to him being injured too as well. I don't feel like he hasn't been healthy enough this whole season. And also due to I feel like he just has a lack of instincts right now. Like a lack of basketball instincts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Just. Like, the first half of the season, he's been playing a little better as of late, but I've been watching the games. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody look this bad on the court, ever. I mean, that's not even an exaggeration.
Lost, though, I can't lie.
A little, Just. I mean, this dude's taking 3-pointers, and they're, like, going off the backboard, airballing. Like, he's been taking some awful shots. He looks like he's thinking out there. He's obviously athletic, but he's not reacting in a way a basketball player reacts. I mean, Just, you played ball. I mean, you know certain things, right? Yeah. You know you got to roll off a pick and roll. You know that you got to be aggressive in some spots, what to do, spacing. These are just common sense, instinctual things that you have to have by the time you get to the pro game that he just doesn't have. And he's athletic. I know he's not as young as like other rookies, which is also kind of scary.
He's an old rookie, right? He's
23.
Yeah, that's an old rookie.
And the Knicks don't really run an offense that caters to his ability, like you said. I mean, I think he'd be good for like a pick and as a roller, like a pick and roll, like Steve Nash, Amari type situation. But the Knicks just don't run that. So what do you do with him? I don't want him jacking threes like he's doing every game. When he gets the ball, he either just passes it right away or doesn't really attack. So it's like, what's your purpose? And then on the other end, he's not even a plus on that end. He's constantly lost on help defense. So, I don't want to rag on him too much because he's a rookie and there's a lot of good things to talk about with the Knicks. But I am really extremely disappointed with Obi. I just hope that, it's a mental thing and then that switch just flips and he's able to turn it on. So, at least we got quickly. At least we got Emmanuel quickly.
Yes, which that was definitely a steal. But I'll be honest with you, bro. The Knicks definitely messed up on that pick. I was on record saying it. I didn't like the Obi Toppin pick. I still think he's going to be I think he's going to be a decent player in the NBA, a role player. I don't see all-star level potential from me personally from him. But I still think the Knicks messed up with that pick. Obviously, Halliburton was available, and who else? Cole Anthony, I believe.
Anthony, I liked a lot.
That was the pick I wanted the Knicks to make. And because they needed a point guard, and they still haven't really gotten a full-fledged starting point guard, but they're doing point guard by committee. But with that being said, let's talk about some RJ, because I feel like he is the bright spot this season. And he's, I would say, the most polarizing Knick right now on this team. So I want to talk about him a little bit. Averaging 17-5 this season, up from 14 last year, so that is an improvement. I know for his last 5 games, he's averaging over 20, shooting over 60%, over 69% from 3 as well. But there's been a little, not enough respect put on RJ's lane. There's been a little disrespect on RJ's way from being the number 3 pick. Wasn't even named to the ESPN top 25 under 25 list. I believe he didn't make the all-rookie team. Didn't make the Rising Stars team as a number 3 pick, which is pretty crazy. Little disrespect. But needless to say, he's not really a popular name amongst the national media circuit, clearly amongst the younger players. And I personally think he's improved a lot this season. But I want to hear your thoughts on RJ, because remember when he was being drafted, we were both high on John Morant. We wanted the Knicks to get John Morant so bad.
We did, man.
Unfortunately, the Knicks, in very Knick-like fashion, got the 3rd pick instead of the 2nd. Just missing it. So they had to pick up RJ. So I want to ask you, do you feel like he's better this season? Number one. And why do you think he's overlooked so much in the national media circuits right now?
So before I even get started, to anyone who goes, well, if this player would have played in New York, oh my God, there'd be so much hype around him. No, look at RJ Barrett. That's not always the case. Just because someone's playing well doesn't mean the national media is attached to them, because RJ is balling right now. I'll be the first one to say I didn't want RJ. I just didn't. I saw him play at Duke. I didn't think he made really good decisions with the basketball. I think he forced a lot of shots. I am very, 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 very pleased and very, very, very happy that he has proven me wrong so far. And shout out to RJ. I think the problem with RJ is that I looked at the top 25 list, and just, I'll be honest with you, man, I don't really know who I would take out of that list to put him in. And that's not knocking RJ, because RJ is still very good. You know what I mean? It's just that I don't know if he's at that tier yet. He has had a nice string of games here. He has played very well this year. But I don't know if, I'm listing the top 25 under 25, if he even makes that list. And if he does, he's at the back end of like 22, 23 or whatever, which isn't a bad thing. That's not a knock on him. He's a very solid foundational piece for the Knicks that I think they should be investing in the future. And I'm very happy the Knicks have him. But he's not as good as his most supportive fans make him out to be. And I think typically when you overrate a player like that, national media in general, or fan bases in general, just like, all right, whatever. Like, I don't want to talk about it. It's kind of like Alex Caruso, right? It's not as bad because RJ's way better than Alex Caruso. But aren't you sick of like hearing about Alex Caruso? Like, we get it.
Is Caruso in that top 25 list?
No. Absolutely not. But my point was
whoa, hold on now.
Yeah, my point was that like you remember last year when everything was about Caruso and everybody except Laker fans like, yo, shut up.
Yes.
Like,
I was one of those people. I was annoyed.
He's a white boy who can play defense and he hits a 3 occasionally and he has hops. He's not that good. Like, I think that's kind of what the RJ thing is. And also, the Knicks haven't been good. They just haven't been good. This is the first time they've been decent in a while. Now, to us Knicks fans, like we're in cloud 9 right now. But the reality of the situation is the Knicks are 500. They're not going anywhere this year. So right now, national media is not really on them.
Mm-hmm.
But next year,
but they are winning.
Kind of
500. I mean, go ahead.
No, I get what you're saying. They're a respectable team right now. But there are a lot of teams that are respectable, And RJ to me, he doesn't really have too many highlight reels. Once in a while, he'll catch a body dunking, but he's not really. He's more smooth, man. He's not going to really cross anybody up. He just does his job, which I actually appreciate. I'm really happy they got him. I'll be the first one to admit that I didn't want him and that I was wrong about him. So shout out to RJ.
Indeed. But I would say this to counteract that. I don't know. I think I may disagree with you on a couple of people that I will take off this list instead of it. I'm not going to lie, because I'll tell you right now, me personally, I'm taking RJ over Colin Sexton.
Oh, no.
No? I'm taking RJ over him. I like that 6-6 win, 6-6, 6-7 win. I'm taking him. I'm taking him over Jared Allen right now, who's in that top 25.
Yeah.
I'm taking him. Am I taking him over Halliburton?
That's too early to tell. See, because Halliburton
right now,
to me,
you know what?
He's
right
a
now,
point guard, and the Knicks need a point guard. So when you dangle a point guard like that in front of me, I'm like, I'd rather have that. But I get what you're saying. RJ right now is better than Halliburton. Like
right
today.
Now, they have him over. Who else? Ayton. I think I would take Ayton over RJ right now. Sabonis, Domantas Sabonis.
No, really?
I'm thinking he's an all-star.
That's an all-star.
Yeah. But if I'm really starting my franchise, I don't know if I'm taking Sabonis that high. He's a complementary piece, but to me, he's not a piece to build around. Sabonis. He's a nice utility. He's an upper echelon utility player in my mind. But he's not a piece that I would build around, me personally.
I got you.
And me personally.
My point is that you can make a case, but you can only make a case for 2 or 3 names on that list. You know what I mean? He's not top 10.
He hit the 25. I
which is okay.
Me personally, he should be in my 25. He should be anywhere between that 20 to 25 range.
Okay. I can't argue that.
Adequate for RJ. I think
he's in that 24, 25, 26 range. First one out type thing.
Okay, that's
Which isn't a bad thing. I'm happy with that as a Knicks fan. I'm really happy with that.
I mean, he should be better though, man. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. Next year he might make the list at 15 or 10. I mean,
I don't want to hear that next year.
We
talking about this year, Josh. He should be higher at number 3, man.
This is about potential, though. This is about potential. This is not about who's the best right now.
Indeed. But like I said, I do like the improvements here. I mean, he's not a consistent great shooter, but he's a good shooter and he's improving.
Yes.
His mid-range game is solid. His drive game is pretty reliable. I feel like his NBA athleticism level is pretty above average. No?
Is it? He has surprising athleticism because sometimes he'll throw it down and I'm like,
that's what I see a couple of times when he threw it down. You know?
Yeah.
It's clutch gene is improving.
Getting there. It's getting there.
The other night he had a great what was that against Memphis? Against Memphis and against the Raptors too. He had
hit a big 3.
Big 3 down the stretch. So he's been getting better, man. I think he's deserving of the top 25. That's what I'm saying.
I think you'd say that. Yeah.
So let's talk about Randall, the Knicks' actual all-star this season. He's second in the NBA minutes per game, averaging 22, 10, and 6. First time all-star, like we said before. Is Randall really this good, Josh? Or is he, some people will call him a looter in a riot? Getting nice stats on a mediocre team. Talk to me about Randall. What do you think?
No, he is this good. He absolutely is this good. I just think it was more he needing a coach that pretty much set him straight. He's no longer doing that stupid ass spin move in the paint with 3 people on him. It was more basketball IQ with Randall. He always had the intangibles. He has his spots now. He knows step back jumper. I can hit this. He's more confident when he's shooting the 3. His court vision has improved. I don't know what Tibbs has done. Maybe he showed him some film and said, hey, when you do this, the block is open. When you do this, the 3.
Josh.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's making better passes. He's making better basketball decisions. And he's obviously improved his game. He's shooting the ball a lot better. His confidence is up. This is who he is. I'm really convinced that this is who he is because I don't think you can keep up what he's doing for the amount of time that he's doing. I mean, the shots that he's hitting they're not easy shots. Yeah. A lot of these are not easy shots. These are skilled basketball shots. He's making good decisions with the basketball. I think he's improved his game, but I think most of all, he's improved his basketball IQ.
Yes.
And that's not something that you just revert back to. He has evolved as a player, as a thinker, as a basketball savant. And I don't think he's going to go back as long as Tibbs is his coach. I think this Julius Randle's here to stay.
Yeah, I like that. Is he good enough to be a franchise player going forward?
I think he's good enough to be a franchise player. I think these days it's not just one franchise player. I think, with the, super teams, quote unquote, or, the teams that typically win championships now, there's usually 2 or 3 all-stars on the team. So I'm going to answer that question as if, is he, one of those 2 or 3 all-stars? Yes, he is. I don't think he can be the best player.
To be a 1B or maybe a second option.
2. He's a good 2. I think he's a solid 2. I do. Yeah, he can't be the best player on a team, though. The Knicks need somebody else who is better than Julius Randle if they're going to make any type of noise or being any type of serious contenders anytime soon.
They sure do, because what they really need is that isolation player that's going to get you a bucket at any time, at any point.
Yeah, but Julius has done that this year. That's the thing.
He has. I've been very impressed with his scoring, but he's always been a decent scorer, though. I just think he wasn't getting the shine enough, but his scoring has definitely improved, Josh. I know you've been seeing it, man. I'm very impressed with his scoring and his willingness to compete each night.
Yeah.
I love the aggression out of him.
I love it too, man. Like I said, it goes all back to like basketball IQ and shot selection. Know where you're good at, know where your spots are, know what your moves are. He's just improved so much just from a basketball standpoint. He's no longer forcing things. When you don't force things, the game come to you. You make your other teammates better. It opens up everything for you. And I don't know what Tibbs did. I don't know what that film session was like. I would love to be a fly on the wall when Tibbs brought it in, but he did something because that's coaching. What happened with Julius it was hard work over the offseason, yes, because he did get better. But what happened with Julius was all coaching.
Yeah.
It was.
It sure was. And
yeah.
I hope he'll be all right, though, playing a second most minutes in the game. I mean, it's just a typical Tibbs. I think RJ's probably top 5, too.
RJ's out there.
He definitely is. But also an unsung hero of the Knicks, low-key. I don't know if people will pay attention, but Reggie Bullock has been playing exceptional for the Knicks this season. I think he's been playing some solid defense. He's been a solid shooter. And I think, the Knicks have a solid core. And what I do like right now is that they have an identity. And I think, to me, that's the most important part of this Knicks season is that they have established an identity. And I think that identity will allow them to maybe put in a scare of somebody in the playoffs. You never know.
Yeah, it depends who they play, but they're going to play hard every night. That's the thing I appreciate about the Knicks. Like, when they get in the first round, and I do believe they'll be in the first round of the playoffs, I think they can steal a game. Whether against the Bucks.
A game.
But listen, I get it. You know what I mean? It's kind of downplaying their success this year, but let's just be honest. They're not the Sixers, they're not the Nets, they're not the Bucks. If they get a game in their first round series against any of those 3 teams, I'm happy, man. If they force it to 6, I'm ecstatic. But I don't expect them to push any team past 6 games. I just can't see it.
Indeed. I definitely, I know you're a realist, so I like to rile up Knicks fans, man, because I know they be getting crazy, man.
Don't get me started, man. I do not get along with Knicks Twitter. They freaking hate me because I always have to bring them back down to earth with this crap. But,
insane. But you know what's crazy though? I do feel like for some reason this year, I do feel like a lot of people are hating a little bit on the little success the Knicks are having this season. I feel like there's a lot of people not letting the Knicks be great, man. I mean, a lot of there's a lot of optimism on the Knicks fan side, but then everyone else is so lowly optimistic. Like, this typical Knicks shit, you mad hype. So, I mean, I know you said you'll be ecstatic if you got a 6-game Eastern Conference series. I'm actually pushing for a first-round Knicks and Nets. I think that would be amazing if we could actually get that.
That'd be dope.
Against the Nets this year, they're 0-3. Against the Sixers, they're 0-3. Against the Bucks, they're 2-1, though.
Yeah, they can make it interesting against the Bucks.
Yeah,
especially with the playoff woes the Bucks have had, and if you can get like them thinking a little bit, like, oh, here we go again. Who knows?
Listen,
who knows?
We know what the Bucks are gonna do. Have they changed that? Not really.
Nah, I don't think adding Drew Holiday changes that much.
Not really. Listen, if I'm the Bucks, if I'm the Knicks and I'm hovering in that, if I can't get that 4-5 range, I'm making sure I get that 6 to play the Bucks. Or if we want some theatrics, I want the Nets.
But that goes through a playing game, man. I'd rather just get in. Give me the Bucks. Let's go. Let's do it.
Give us the Bucks, man. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a quick MVP discussion before we get on out of here, man. Because you know what? I'm tired of the disrespect, Josh.
Talk about it, Josh. Talk about it.
It's time for me to talk about it, man.
Talk about it.
I'm a little tired of the disrespect from the national media. These national media losers are not giving my boy CP3 his flowers right now. Last season, they left him for dead. They told me he was washed. He had a .02 chance to get into the playoffs. Now this season, he's barely an MVP candidate when his team is second in the West from not even making the playoffs last year. One of the few teams, top 10 in offense, top 10 in defense, while playing at one of the slowest paces in the league. And here it is, Josh. Every single person on the team has gotten better this year.
Ridiculous.
I'll repeat that. Every single person on the Suns has gotten better this season. The best season the Suns have had since 2013. That's almost a decade. He's missed only one game this year at 35 years old. He's putting up basically the same numbers from his last year in LA when he was on the Clippers. NBA.com MVP rankings had the nerve to disrespect my man and give him a .09 chance to win MVP this year. They upped themselves from .02 now to .09 with the disrespect. You sent me a voicemail, Josh, so I know you agree. Talk to me, bro, because I can't explain it. Why the streets hating on my man CP3? Why is he not getting no MVP love, my man?
He's not getting MVP love for the simple fact that a lot of people just look at stats. Stats are sexy. That's what it is. You see the triple-double. You see someone averaging 30. You see someone averaging 10 assists. You see, averaging 28, doing the damn thing, those type of things. CP3 stats are very humble, right? You look at it and you're like, well, what is he really doing? But people don't realize by just him existing on that team, he just took their record from being maybe a few games below 500 to the 2 seed in the West.
2 seed.
The 2 seed.
2 seed.
By just existing. By coming in and playing point guard. People don't realize what a good point guard does for a basketball team, especially one that is pass first and thinks about others.
Yeah.
Everybody, if you watch the Suns play as opposed to last year, they're not just kind of drifting in spots. Everyone knows their spot. Everybody knows that if CP3 gets into the lane, I'm getting the basketball. I need to be ready to shoot. All the rollers have their hands ready. CP3 can score the basketball still whenever the hell he wants. It's like a machine. It's like he comes in and crafts this machine and everybody just fits in like an assembly line and becomes better just because of him. And that's not to downplay the other players on the team and their growth and Monty Williams and what he's done as head coach, because he's doing a fantastic job, but they would not be where they're at without CP3. They would not even be close to where they're at without CP3. People don't really understand that. The spacing. He dictates the spacing. Even if he doesn't have the basketball in his hand, he's dictating the spacing on the floor. When he's on the bench, he's coaching from the bench and making sure everybody's in their spots. The value that he provides to every single team that he's ever been on. The Hornets, when he's drafted, they went from irrelevant to a playoff team. The Los Angeles Clippers were the biggest joke in professional sports. And now they've been competent ever since he's been on the team. That was all Chris Paul. Then he went to Houston, and they were a hamstring away from winning a championship over the best team we've ever seen. The best team assembled ever.
Talk about it.
Come on, like what else does he have to do? The Thunder last year. Tell me, what was that Thunder team any good last year without CP3? What would have that Thunder team done last year?
They would have done where the pieces are now.
Nothing.
Steven Adams, irrelevant.
It's
Gallinari,
crazy.
damn near irrelevant. Schroeder is just a role player. Shea, killing, but
exactly,
that's it.
Yo. It's crazy. He's the bar rescue of fucking basketball players, man. He just comes in and just fixes everything. He's unreal.
Listen.
He's unreal. His value just cannot be quantified. That's how much value he brings. The only other player that you can even compare to CP3's value in this generation is LeBron, because he's LeBron, and that's not an insult on CP3. But CP3 to me, man, I mean, if you don't realize it at this point, you're just a hater. You're just a hater, or you just really just understand how the game of basketball is played. And I don't really hate to, I hate to like, downgrade someone's basketball intelligence, because we all see the game differently. But at this point, man, like you have to know how spacing works, how offense works, and how rotations work on defense, and how a point guard dictates that all. Even though they don't touch the basketball or score the basketball in every play, their role on that team means so much. And the evidence is there. Just look at his whole career, what he's done for every single team that he's been on. It's absurd. He is the most valuable player in the league this year because LeBron has missed all this time with an injury. There's nobody more valuable than CP3 in the league. Nobody.
Wow. Listen, brother, I couldn't have said that any better myself. I'm giving you my flowers that I'm giving CP3, Josh. I'm giving it to you, man. Listen,
I love that this is we agree on this, man, because we have our disagreements, but this is the one thing you and I, man, we will go to battle with anybody, man.
You know I do it to the
me and you,
death.
we will take on Twitter together, bro. You and I will take on Twitter together, 2 versus 2 million. I don't give a damn. Let's do it, Josh. Let's do it.
For sure, 1,000%, because I said it last year. And I said it earlier this year. Last year, the Heat were a team that needed a chief. There were a couple of Indians that needed a chief. They got Jimmy Butler. The Phoenix Suns are a couple of Indians that needed a chief this year, and they got it in Chris Paul, right? I thought MVP meant most valuable player. Who's more valuable than CP3 for his team right now? The Suns are a cohesive unit. They're great at helping. They're great at rotating, defending. Very smart team. They take efficient shots. I believe they're second or third in field goal percentage this year. They shoot the 3 ball well. They have 2 All-Stars. They have depth, and they well coached. I mean, the streets are just hating right now if they're not giving CP3 enough credit for MP3. And when we look at the MVP candidates that they claim are better than CP3 right now in the rankings. We talked about LeBron a little bit. He would definitely be up there, but now he's going to be missing a significant amount of time. CP3, I said before, has only missed 1 game this year. The other MVP candidates, Dame, great scorer. But that's all. Let's keep it a stack.
Thank you, Just.
I mean, let's keep it a stack. I'm tired of pissing people off, but I'm tired of speaking the truth. An elite scorer. Very elite. But that's about it. He's a great leader too as well. I'll give him that credit. But that is all. He's not making everybody better on that team like Chris Paul is. Now we talk about James Harden. No, I'm sorry. I'm not giving him that MVP award. Not the way he started the season, pouting, moaning so he could get over there to the Nets just to stack the deck. So I'm not giving it to him. I don't care how he's playing right now. And that team is stacked, so that we don't reward stacking the deck out here for an MVP award. Now let's go to Jokic. He's playing phenomenal. Triple-double numbers for a center, and unlike we've seen before from a center. But are the Nuggets really that scary? And then I ask you, do they have a better record than Phoenix, Josh? Do they?
They don't, and you can argue they have a better supporting cast.
Yes.
I know Chris Paul has Booker, but outside of that, I'll give me Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Monte Morris. Come on, man, Denver's stacked.
Come on. I don't know why people are acting like the Joker is playing with crumbs right now. Like he's playing with bums. That is a team that went to the Western Conference Finals last year. That is a good unit with cohesive talent. And after that...
And the Joker wasn't even playing that well, so that shows you that they can carry themselves to the Western Conference Finals without him.
He wasn't even the best player in that run. It was Jamal Murray in the bubble last year. And now last, Joel Embiid, playing phenomenal this year. But he has missed a couple of games. He has been playing... he just came back right now. He's still playing phenomenal. If there's one person that I would say deserves it over CP3, I can't even say over, who's on par with CP3 for MVP this year, I would say Joel Embiid, even though he did miss a couple of games, but it was only 10. It wasn't really an astronomical amount. But Jokic, I would go CP3, Embiid, then the Joker for me for MVP right now. I don't know why they're not giving my boy his flowers. It's disrespect right now.
It's the stats, man. He's only averaging 16 points per game. So they're going to look at that. I mean, Nash, remember when Nash had that year where he averaged like 16 and 10 and everybody was
won it, and he won MVP.
And he won. But I think that set a precedent like, we can't do this again. Because I don't know if we could do this again.
Listen, man, they just don't want to give the president of the PA the MVP too, man. If LeBron was the president of PA, he would never get one again. They don't want to give my man some love.
It's all politics.
All politics out here, man. They try to... No, they don't want any politics for the politician right now in the league right now. But I'm serious, man. They gotta give my boy this fight. No, I mean, not many people. I mean, I'm on record of saying the Suns were going to be great this year. Definitely, I still have them on record. Yeah.
You Nostradamus, bro. It's ridiculous.
Justradamus.
Justradamus. I've given up reacting like I'm surprised to your takes. Now, every time you come with a dime, I'm just like, yep, okay. Instead of be like, wow, really, Just? It's going to be like, okay, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, man. Because I know there's like peaks and valleys to a season, man. And I try to look at the teams who I think are going to be most consistent throughout the season and the teams who have the most depth throughout the season. But, when we get to the playoffs and, anything can happen, an injury changes everything. But, it's crazy. It's just like MVP now. I don't even know what the criteria anymore is. I feel like every year it changes the criteria. One day it's about stats.
Good point.
One day you will reward winning. If you're rewarded winning, then why shouldn't he be up there? Why shouldn't Donovan Mitchell be up there if you're rewarding winning? Shout out to Chuck, too, who's the only national media member I saw who gave my man CP some love. And then when he did that, you saw Shaq, Kenny, everybody else hating. Like, it's like he's not even in the conversation.
Disgusting.
I'm sick of it.
I am too.
So
I am too, man.
I want to applaud you, brother, for one of the few guys out here who sees the game the right way.
I want to applaud you as well, man. It's you and I versus NBA Twitter. I don't give a damn.
It sure is. It sure is. Yeah. So like I said, I'm probably gonna definitely have you on again, going towards the playoff time. And we're hoping your Knicks are gonna be there. I'm hoping they definitely either get
They'll be there. They'll be there.
Yeah.
I think they'll be there.
Unless it's a colossal collapse, which I pray they don't. Or unless it's a play-in too. That would be
barring injury. If they stay healthy, there won't be a collapse. They play too hard to collapse. They play way too hard.
They do. And I do feel like, before we get on that, I do feel like Tibbs has to tighten up that rotation a little bit. Especially at the point guard position. I'm not really crazy about starting Peyton. I like Derrick Rose in there a little bit more, but maybe he's not a starting caliber. But quickly got to get some more minutes too. Tibbs got some more pieces that he needs to utilize. And lowest of keys, I didn't like that they let go Austin Rivers. I thought he could help.
I didn't either. I think Austin would have fit very well. He wasn't playing well at the time, but I think he would have helped a lot. Yeah, especially at the point guard position. I do have my critiques of Tibbs. I will save them though, just because overall it's been a fantastic year. He gets an A from me, but I would like to see a little more imagination on offense. They're a little too ISO heavy, and they run like pick and rolls or like stagger screens, and then if the first option's not there, they completely fall apart. So I would like to see a little more imagination on offense, but that's just me nitpicking.
Oh, definitely. And they're going to have to increase all of that. They're trying to at least push it to 6 in this series.
Yes.
So we're definitely going to see, man. I got high hopes for the Knicks. Shout out to the Knicks. I'm rooting for the Knicks this year. We don't like, even though I love Brooklyn, we don't like stacking the deck over here. Everybody knows how I feel about that. Yeah, man, Knicks definitely want to see them prosper this season. And Josh, my brother, I appreciate you for joining me, man. It's always dope when you definitely come through and join me on Above the Rim, brother.
Appreciate having me on, Just, man. I love your podcast. Once I first got into this game, you were probably one of the first podcasts I gravitated to. And, my podcast evolved because I listened to your podcast and I needed to step my game up. That's just fact. So appreciate you having me on, man.
I appreciate the kind words always, man. Anytime you need me on the dime as a resident guest,
hell yeah.
I'm there.
Absolutely.
Anytime you need a guest, hit me up, my brother. I love coming on. I love getting crazy on the Dime podcast. For sure. I definitely got to give you credit too, because you're one of the few podcasters along with myself who definitely knows how to put a show together, definitely knows how to do segments, put everything in the background. So I definitely respect and I applaud your producer-esque
appreciate it, bro.
Knowledge and the way you put your show together, my brother. So much respect to you and much success to you as always. I just wanted to make sure I get that on wax. I know we talk off wax, but I definitely want to get that on. That you're definitely one of my favorite guests here on Above the Rim, man. So shout out to you, brother.
Appreciate it, man. That was really nice of you to say.
Of course. Family. So that's episode 148, and we are.